Now, speaking of emissions, Labor predictably have set a target of net zero carbon dioxide emissions by 2050. How old will you be then? At the last election, they promised 50% renewables by 2030 and 45% reduction in carbon emissions over that same time frame. They also said that half the new car sales in 2030 would be electric. And they failed to cost any of this. They just said they didn't know what it would cost, but it would surely cost more to do nothing. No, seriously, that's what they said, and they wonder why they lost the election. Well, guess what they're saying today?
The question of cost is one better now directed to the government. The question is, what is going to be the cost to the economy if we don't act? We've got a report from the CSIRO which is saying that moving to a position of net zero emissions by 2050 will see an increase in wages, it will see an increase in economic growth, we'll see a decrease in power prices. You've got Melbourne University in the last week have just made the point that the cost of inaction is something like 20 times that of acting.
Yep, that's it. We can't tell you what our policies would cost, but if you don't vote for us, it'll cost you 20 times more. This is ludicrous stuff, but of course the chickens won't come home to roost for another 10 elections. We'll have at least 10 elections between now and 2050. This is the promise you make when you don't have a policy. But just consider this reality. Whatever Labor's policy costs, whatever the Coalition's climate policies cost for that matter, it's a greater cost than doing nothing. That's just the fact. The opposite to what Labor says is true, because there is no cost to inaction. Global greenhouse gas emissions continue to rise. Therefore, whatever we do won't make any difference to the global environment. If we do nothing, it won't make any difference, and we'll get whatever climate we were going to get. And if we spend a fortune and do a lot, it won't make any difference either. Now, no, I'm not making a case for Australia to do nothing. I think we should act cautiously, in good faith, in case global action changes. But let's not pretend that Scott Morrison or Anthony Albanese are about to change the global climate. If you believe that, you'd believe a promise of net zero emissions by 2050.